Everything was so great. We were flying in the clouds, and then we crashed right back down to earth, all within 5-minute period.
Let's talk a little bit about email.
Ooh, okay. I bet you know a lot about this. Tell me something that I don't know. Okay, you're actually on the right track. You think a little bit differently, but that's a good thing.
Welcome to Email Einstein, a podcast by Flowium. It's time to start honing your inner marketing Einstein. Tune in for the data-driven tips that'll make you a marketing genius. Here you'll find email marketing formulas and tips straight from the brilliant mad scientists at Flowium. It's time for your emails to start earning more money. It's time to unleash your Einstein. Hey there, everyone. Elisa and Vera here. We are two email marketers at an email marketing agency called Flowium. We are so passionate about email marketing, and because we love what we do, we want to share our insights with you. Flowium is one of the fastest growing email marketing agencies in the world. We specialize in providing a premium, full service e-commerce email marketing experience for all of our clients. Our service is tailored specifically for your business and is designed to help increase your online retail revenue by 20 to 50%. We deliver the right message to the right person at the right moment, and that's what we're all about here at Flowium. We have a special guest with us today, and we're so excited to share with you. He has so much to share, and his story is really the most compelling we've heard in the e-commerce space thus far. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Flowium Podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And today on the show, we'll be talking to Steve Gebhardt from Roosevelt Apparel. Hi, Steven.
How are you doing?
Good. We're so excited to have you on the podcast today. For those of you guys who don't know, Steve is one of the masterminds behind the Roosevelt Apparel. Steve, your story is amazing, and I can't wait to hear it today.
Absolutely. I'm excited to share it.
It's like one of those stories that I want to hear over and over again. And I'm sure someday they will make a movie about Roosevelt and about you. But
Probably,
before we go there...
Starring Jason Segel, right? That'll be the guy that plays me.
Yeah. I think it's a good start. Brad Pitt, maybe. Yeah.
I like that one even more.
But before we go there, let's do a quick blitz Q&A to get to know you and the brand better. So I'll give you a few questions. Just answer them in a one word or a few words. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Let's start. New Jersey or New York?
New Jersey. Hoboken specifically.
Yeah, and I know why, and I think we'll be talking about it on the podcast as well. Marv or Harry from Home Alone?
I would say more of a Marv guy.
Marv guy, my fave. Okay. Bob Ross, yay or nay?
Oh, of course, yay.
100%.
Legend.
What MLB stadium has the best food?
What? The best food, I would say Safeco Field, because their garlic fries are amazing and they just have such an eclectic roundabout of everything you could ever want in food. Definitely.
Eclectic.
It is eclectic.
Even know.
It's very worldly.
I didn't even know you can use that word.
I don't even think it's Safeco anymore. I think it's T-Mobile Field now. So I'm dating myself here.
And you are an expert in the stadium food. So
I think I certainly am. I've been to all of them, and I've eaten more hot dogs than probably anybody in America at this point.
Cool. Amazon or Shopify?
Shopify.
What's the most American movie of all time?
The Sandlot. Man, these are layups here. I like this.
I know, right? Yeah, we have a lot of things to discuss today, and that's a promising beginning. But for those who are not familiar with Roosevelt's, and I'm sure there are not so many people left like that in America, Steve, how would you describe / explain what are you doing? For those who don't know, what is Roosevelt about?
Well, I mean, I guess at first look, you could say Roosevelt's is an apparel brand. It was started by myself and my business partner, who also happens to be one of my best friends. We both went to Seton Hall University together in New Jersey. But, at first look, we combined licensing agreements with cultural institutions like the Sandlot, Home Alone, Bob Ross, Step Brothers, WWE, these big brands. And we combined those licenses with high quality products. Button-up shirts we're really known for, swim. We do a lot of hats, the whole nine. But, those forces combined lead to the really unique awesome products that we're putting out. So at its core, you could say, yes, we're an apparel brand, but I think when you dig a little bit deeper, it's becoming apparent that Roosevelt's is more of like a lifestyle. When you wear Roosevelt's, maybe people listening to this know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, maybe one day you will, but it gives you this amazing feeling. Like when you're walking down the street, somebody might stop you and say, oh, that's an amazing shirt, or wow, you have the kid from Home Alone on your shirt. And it's really conversation starting. And, I think it gives people confidence. It's conversation starting. It just makes you feel really good. Through a lot of hard work and foresight and a little bit of luck, I think we've built one of the most amazing communities really out there that any brand has. We do meetups in real life. We've done a lot of Comic-Cons. We have incredible fan groups online. They're popping up. Some we make ourselves and others, fans make themselves. We call them our insiders. Those are our most loyal members of the community. And, we do a lot of unique content as well. We have a really strong social strategy. And, we've seen a lot of growth over the last few years, but I really do think that we're just getting started. We have big plans for the future as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned your social advertising, because I think that social advertising is what you guys do better than probably anyone in the industry. So you're definitely crushing. But can you tell the story? How did you originally start the brand? I think it started as a marketing agency or something. How did you come up with the idea of a brand?
You're leading me right down the road that I was going to lead us on anyway. You said social marketing, and I think at its core, I do think, and, John and myself, we've always been kind of ahead of the curve with a lot of this stuff. And we've done a really good job understanding, where we're at now and where the future might be. And, with that said, I really do like to think we were very early to the social media marketing game. I really truly believe we were one of the first social media agencies out there. We've been producing social media marketing campaigns for actually 10 years, almost to the month. About 10 years ago, we were at a different company. We started making social media campaigns for different brands, and we would produce content for them that would live on social. We would publish this content on a couple publisher sites, and we went off and kind of did our own thing and really doubled down on the social media marketing aspect of things. And we locked up clients like Microsoft, Unilever, some big people. We would kind of do those social media campaigns for the brands. And as we saw it, the times were changing, and we wanted to frankly own more of the budget. So we spun off, and instead of, publishing that content on some of our, partner websites, we actually launched our own, which was called the Roosevelt's at the time. It was a blog, and it was almost a vehicle for us to create this content for brands and, regular organic content as well. And, do a lot of the social media tactics that we were running with at the time. Times were changing, and we didn't want to always just be publishers. So, we decided to spin off and take more of a direct to consumer play, but it was almost by accident in a way. One summer I was going to Austin City Limits, and, I wanted to wear like a cool button up shirt. So I just figured out how to make it. I made a repeating pattern, and it was really, really ugly, but it kind of worked. And I worked at the concert, and, I got a lot of compliments, and it was like that Roosevelt's feeling that I was talking about. I was like, man, I think we might be onto something here. So I ended up showing John, and, he's a creative genius. I mean, that guy has done all of the designs for our patterns and is like the creative force behind all the designs that we put out. And he's like, wow, that really has some potential here. Let me clean it up and fix it. And that was the first Roosevelt shirt we ever put out. And it was kind of off to the races ever since then.
And what was the shirt?
It was, we called it at the time Bomb Pops and Freedom. We had to change it to America Pops because we've learned through a lot of trial and error about licensing and trademarks. So we didn't know Bomb Pops was a trademark term at the time, but we called it Bomb Pops and Freedom. And it's the Statue of Liberty with those like retro red, white, and blue ice pops that everybody loves during the summer. So, that was really it. I was like, oh, it'd be cool to have those two things on a shirt. I made the shirt without really thinking about it. And, who knew that little weird summer project that I wanted to do for my trip to Austin City Limits ended up being like our lives and the future of where the Roosevelt's then ended up going.
were you not worried about the licensing and stuff? Because it's like a pretty gray area. So did you know what you were getting yourself into?
No, not at the time. I think a lot of how the company's been built was a lot of trial and error. I mean, just throwing stuff up against the wall, seeing if it sticks, trying new things, all the way from, the designs that we take to the marketing avenues we take. And, the licensing thing was not necessarily top of mind at the time. When we did this Sandlot shirt, we were so, it's so amazing how green we were and uneducated on this stuff. I guess ignorance is bliss, but, we wanted to do these Sandlot shirts because we did a poll with our audience and they said it was the most Americana movie of all time, like hands down. And it really is. It's an amazing movie that people connect with, with all ages. You don't have to be my age to love it. Kids love it. It's timeless. So we made these cool Sandlot designs, and we thought it'd be okay if we just changed the name and didn't call it Wendy Peppercorn and didn't call it the Great Hambino and didn't call it the Sandlot. Just let people figure that out on their own without us really calling it official. That shirt, this Hambino shirt that we created really took off. Aaron Judge wore it in a post-game interview after he hit the longest home run in a decade. It was like the longest recorded home run that anybody had hit in that decade. And he wore it in a post-game interview where everyone was looking to talk to him, and it just went viral. And, shortly after that, I think our worlds came crashing down, but it was kind of the start of the whole company.
Oh my goodness. Such a good story. What was your lawyer thinking about it? Or I guess you didn't have the lawyer back then, probably.
Yeah. I guess I could break into that aspect of the story, but yeah. So, Aaron Judge wore that shirt, the Sandlot shirt that is kind of the shirt that we're known for, or at least we were at the time. And, it definitely went viral. And not too long after that, I'm driving down the road and I get to a stoplight, check my phone, and I see like cease and desist. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Oh my goodness.
Oh God, I'm afraid to even open this.
It's not the email you want to receive, especially when
we're like, oh, we're killing it. This is great. The shirt's amazing. Like this is our future, yada, yada. Like we are riding a high. And, I get at Fox cease and desist. I'm like, oh my God.
Goodness. Like the Fox.
Yeah. Fox, like 21st Century Fox. I literally got to the light, checked my phone, opened it. I think I blacked out, and I'm driving. And I like literally almost drove off the road because I thought my life was over. I was like, they're going to sue us. Our company is not going to exist anymore. Everything was so great. We were flying in the clouds, and then we crashed right back down to earth, all within, a 5-minute period. And I'm calling John. I'm like, dude, what are we going to do? And, that was a really rough day, but it turns out just through like the connections that we made, and Seton Hall is an amazing school in New Jersey. And, we actually knew a guy that did a lot of licensing there. We had met him at a trade show, and on a whim, I just emailed the guy. I was like, hey, Michael, can you talk? Like, I need advice here. I don't want my life to be ruined. And, he gave me a call. We talked, we bounced emails back and forth, and he connected me with a licensing rep that he knew. Amazing person. We've been working with her ever since. And we actually pitched Fox on the idea of getting an official license. Like we never even thought that was possible. We're just two guys from Hoboken that, we're just kind of building this thing as we go. And Fox on a whim took a meeting with us, which they didn't need to do, but they did.
Right.
And, in that meeting, we sold a vision of Roosevelt's. It's fans making amazing apparel with amazing designers, really doing justice to their properties and, selling it back through creative marketing tactics that we've learned over 8 years at the time, or 7 years at the time. We were doing cutting edge stuff that a lot of other brands and, the movie studios didn't even know really existed.
Right.
In terms of marketing, but we merged those two things together. And Fox, I can't thank them enough. It was amazing, but they took a chance on us and gave us a official license that allowed us to officially call them Sandlot shirts, officially call it a Wendy Peppercorn shirt. And
that's huge.
That was the fuel we needed. That was everything, because it allowed us to really crank up the marketing, do more inventory, and really become an official company that has like a strong foundation. And because of that, it really set our business off. We parlayed the Fox license into licenses with WWE, NBC, Major League Baseball Players Association, Disney. We have all these amazing licenses that, really it all started with Fox. They took a chance on us, and that was the possibly the greatest thing that ever happened to us as a company, because it validated what we were doing, and they really saw the vision.
Gosh, that's like a legendary story. One day,
it was crazy.
One day they will make a movie about you guys. Maybe Fox will make a movie about you guys one day.
Sweet.
Right? I know. Clearly, they saw a lot of potential, like in your product, especially because the design is so unique. The quality of the stuff is so good. It's not your average like Walmart/Target T-shirt with the Fox characters, right? So clearly, they saw a lot of potential. And like, what happened next after that life-changing moment?
So many things. It's funny because I think any business owner and entrepreneur, and whether you're small or large business, I think so many things happen, but every day they happen so slowly that, when you look at it on a macro scale, it's like, oh man, it just doesn't feel like we're making progress here. But then when you kind of look at it from above, I think it's amazing what happened after, that meeting and then getting the license, how much we've really accomplished through just really hard work and just figuring it out as we go. I said trial and error before, but that's really what it was. At that time, we really didn't know about too much. I mean, we had concepts and understanding, but we didn't know about, massive fulfillment at scale. We didn't know about, like just bringing things over from vendors and tariffs and shipping fulfillment and, doing product marketing at giant scale and just doing the little things like building creative assets, like just doing all these things that we had in our head and we knew was the future of Roosevelt's, but doing it at a giant scale that it ended up becoming. That is kind of like the higher level. Holy crap, like we've done so much over the last 3 or 4 years. I honestly can't believe all the accomplishments. But some of the cool things that we've done, we have our office. We've hired we have 10 full-time employees and a bunch of freelancers. We're like quadrupled, a lot of our email lists. We've built honestly an amazing community. We have a Facebook group called Roosevelt's Insiders that I think is the lifeblood of our entire company. We've done Comic-Cons. We've produced a lot of really great content. We've sponsored events. We sponsored a Sandlot reunion in Utah at the original filming location, which was weird because
That's
I know, it was weird.
Cool.
Yeah, because who would have thought? We were making these knockoff Sandlot shirts that we were like,
if someone told you that like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, you probably wouldn't believe it, right?
I'd be like, no, you're crazy. Like, I'm not, we're making these shirts. And then all of a sudden we're at this event, like hanging out with the entire cast and they know who
You're
we
like
are.
Big dogs now, right?
No, it was just, I wouldn't say that maybe, but I just think it's really cool that we believed that we could do this stuff. And it sounds so corny, but like we really almost manifested this vision into reality. Another thing that I'm really proud of is just this wholesale program that we're running. 3 years ago, we launched something called Shop Local. And the general premise of it is, there are tons of every town has 2 or 3 mom and pop shops that, may sell apparel, or maybe they sell just random knickknacks, or even like just local mom and pop shops. It might be a sporting goods store, whatever it is. But every town has like 1, 2, 3 of those. And we've done a good job of identifying those stores in various cities across the country and putting our apparel in them. And the easy way would say, oh, we're direct to consumer, let's just sell on our website. We don't have to give any money away by selling it wholesale, and we'll make more money that way. But the beauty of Shop Local is, we're activating our audience to drive foot traffic to these stores where, maybe somebody was on the fence and they didn't know the quality, or they really couldn't see the amazing design in person. It gives us the opportunity to show this to our customers or potential customers in real life, while also driving that traffic to the store where it's owned by an entrepreneur. These people are fighting for foot traffic, and if we can drive foot traffic there to check out our stuff and do almost like a Jordan style release where, people, go to get this exclusive item before it drops online, it's serving a dual purpose. They're seeing our stuff in real life, and, they might walk out with a couple additional things from that store. And I'm so proud of that. And, we launched it, like the idea came about 3 years ago. It's been running about 2 years. And I think we've exceeded our like 3 or 4 year sales goals within the first year. We're in 100 stores across the country now, and it's really doing well. And, despite the pandemic, things are opening, things are shutting down. It's really, iffy time right now, but we see shop local is a really strong way that, when these stores or when things kind of start turning around and they start opening up, it'll be a really great way to kind of help them turn things back on and keep those employees working and keep their business strong. And that's just something that I've been so proud of. And when you ask like, hey, what accomplishments and what things have happened since that, that maybe a little snafu with Fox when we got that cease and desist, that's something that I think is just really cool and unique about the company.
That's huge. That's huge. Like supporting local economy, especially in the time of pandemics. Good for you guys. Let's circle back to the time when you were deciding on the name of the brand, because that's a story that I love. So why naming the company after the 26th president of America? Why didn't you call it like Washington or like Lincoln or Trump?
So
well, I guess Trump is not a good idea.
Everybody loves Teddy is the best. I still remember when we started kicking around the name. John and I were on one of our crazy road trips. At the time when we were doing publishing and doing marketing campaigns, Microsoft took a fly on us. Roosevelt's didn't exist, by the way. Like we didn't have a website. All it was like an idea that we put in a PowerPoint. We sent it to Microsoft. We were like, hey, would you sponsor this baseball trip that we want to go on? We want to do a baseball bucket list around the country. And like, oh, that's a cool idea. We've heard of you guys. We trust that you're going to do good work. Here's a budget to launch a website, quit your jobs, and go off and do this crazy baseball adventure. So it's kind of a testament to, the successes that we had and the trust that we built with these brands. But, with that first campaign that we were doing, I still remember we were driving from San Diego to Arizona, and we were driving through I don't think it was a national park that Teddy founded, but we started just talking about national parks and all this awesome stuff. And we kept talking about Teddy Roosevelt and, not to get too into detail, but we were just talking about how Teddy Roosevelt's awesome and a really cool name for a company would be the Roosevelts. And, we kind of sat on that for a little bit, and, we decided that would be like the foundation of the company. And we tried to buy the Roosevelts.com, and it wasn't available. And, we decided to shorten the vowels, or take out all the vowels.
Who needs them anyways?
Yeah, who needs them? Like F vowels. We have a funny t-shirt that says explicit word and vowels. But the premise behind, getting the Roosevelts, going through all the steps to get that URL and everything, at its core, it's because, adventurer, amateur boxer, writer, conservationist. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt really did squeeze every drop out of life that he could. And, like us, when he believed in something, he went for it. And he was a patriot through and through. When he was in his office, after he was out of office, he tried to squeeze his way into World War I. Like, the guy's 50-something years old, and he's like, I'm volunteering for the war because I love this country and I love everything, the ethos about that unifying force. And he tried to get into the war. And, there's all these crazy stories about like he got shot and continued to give a speech. Like, he was just a badass. And he's not on Mount Rushmore by accident. Like, he's there for a reason. And he's just everything we aspire to be in our lives and for our brand. And, he's just a good pick and something that we could kind of live up to. And that was just kind of the reason that we picked Teddy.
So essentially he's your brand spirit animal.
He's our spirit animal.
That's so cool. And obviously the company evolved so much since that time. But I know that you guys don't sell on Amazon, and it's very interesting to me. Can you tell a little bit more about your decision, why you decided that Amazon is not a good place for Roosevelts? Because Amazon is such a good place for free traffic and stuff. People are buying all the time from Amazon. Why did you decide that it's not a good place for your brand?
Look, this is nothing against Amazon. I use Amazon all the time. The mic I'm talking on right now is bought on Amazon. So it's not some vendetta against them. But I think for a brand like us, where we look at our customer information very carefully, we've really kind of set the tone for direct-to-consumer brands on social media. I think a lot of the tactics that people are using today, we were using 5 years ago. So we're really forward-thinking about how we want our brand to be. And, everything related to that. And it's just one of the core decisions that we made early on was not to sell on Amazon because, we like to own our customer data. We want to make sure that we can handle all of the marketing ourselves. We want to make sure that all the communications are done in-house. Just because we want to offer that, official like white glove service to customers and really grow the community. If we were selling some commodity, if we were selling paper plates or, solo cups or podcast mics, and not really trying to build a brand, I think Amazon would be a perfect place for that because, they have volume. But as a brand that's really trying to grow and last 10, 20 years, I think it was a wise decision to go the Shopify route and really kind of own it 360 degrees.
100%. Like taking ownership of your company's growth by like taking control of your customers. That's huge. And let's talk about it a little bit because your community that you guys have built is insane. Social advertisement, user generated content is what you do like anyone else in the industry. You do it like better than anyone I'm following. Probably you're crushing it. So in the time that Roosevelt's has been around, how was your like social advertising and your marketing kind of evolved?
Well, that is a good question. We have, we always use Facebook, Instagram, those platforms is kind of the front door to Roosevelt's. We do have our Shop Local campaign. That does have us in about 100 stores across the country. It's amazing, but it's difficult because we can't have a sales rep at every counter in every store across the country solely promoting Roosevelt's. We can't really control that narrative. So, through social media, I think we've done a really good job, and the focus has been really strong on just building high level creative that matches the high level of effort and design that we put into our apparel. I wouldn't want to put out a shirt that we would never put out a shirt that wasn't literally perfect and amazing and relatable and didn't have that Roosevelt's like fingerprint on it. And we wouldn't do the same with our ad creative. So we've taken a really strong emphasis on building like amazing creative for our social platforms. Facebook, Instagram predominantly, but we have in the past done a lot of Snap, Twitter. We've jumped into Pinterest a little bit, a lot of Reddit. But Facebook at its core is kind of the front door to Roosevelt's. And, through there, once a customer comes in and gets our stuff, there's a really strong likelihood that they'll shop with us again. And, we'll get them either shopping with us again or whatever. If they don't want to, if they found the shirt that they really like, that's great. And, I'm perfectly okay with that. But the goal is to kind of get them into our community, get them onto our private Facebook group, get them onto our emails and reading, about new drops that we have coming out, getting them following us on Twitter, and really just diversifying the amount of places that we can have these customers. And I don't even want to call them customers. Let's call them insiders, diversify the amount of places that our insiders can interact with the brand, because maybe they're not on Facebook. Maybe they only use Reddit. Okay, let's talk to them on Reddit. Let's talk to them on Twitter. Let's talk to them on email. I think that's been the major key and the thing that's kind of set us apart from many other brands. And, obviously, like you said, user-generated content, that's been unbelievable for us. People love wearing our stuff and sending pictures of them wearing our stuff. It's such an amazing thing to see that come through and see tag photos of people doing epic things in our stuff. So, I don't know if that really answers your point, but the social aspect of things and just the community that we've built is so strong, and it really wasn't by accident. There is a lot of thought that goes into this stuff, and we work really hard to build that community, and we're just so proud of it.
Your community is amazing. The engagement there, oh my goodness, it's like
we started doing these meetups in real life. It's so funny to interact with people.
Like the physical meetups in like real.
Yeah. All right, so
that's
here's
insane.
a crazy story. So, this is a wild story too. So yesterday, I'm walking with my fiance home from our office in Hoboken. And I'm at a stoplight, I'm walking and somebody's at a stoplight and there's like a line of 4 cars, and I hear somebody yell, "Yo, Steve." And I'm like, "I'm the only Steve." Like, I'm looking around like, what the heck's going on here? And he goes, "Good to see you in the wild." And I turn and there's like a guy waving in a car, and I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't really see him. So I'm kind of like waving at the clouds like an idiot. And, I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Somebody, recognized me walking down the street. And I get home, and on our Facebook group, there is a post from a person that said, "Oh, I think I just saw Steve in the wild. I'm not sure. He looked exactly like him." And there were a bunch of comments, and I was like, that is an unbelievable testament to like the community that we built. Is like that whole interaction just happened. It was like a call and repeat. And, that's the sort of thing that's just so cool, because people are really just big fans of the brand. They're willing to travel. We've done these meetups in Austin, Chicago, New York, where we'll do an exclusive product, and, people will fly in, to Austin. They'll fly in from Florida, California, Illinois. They'll fly in from all over the country to come meet other people that they've interacted with online. So it's really taking that online experience and moving it offline, so you can, have some beers with another person, or just kind of like hang out and just talk to them in real life. And I think that whole interaction, and then all the meetups that we've had, it's just cool to see that online community blend with an offline thing. And I think that is one of the main reasons why that, our brand is just so strong right now in terms of community.
And how does it feel, by the way, to be a celebrity? Does it feel good?
No,
I'm joking.
Far from the truth, but it's just cool. It's cool to like.
Such a good.
You know what it is?
Such a good Yeah, go ahead.
No. It's just cool to talk to these people and then go to an event and be like, wow, that's you in real life. Like I've talked to
real
you
people,
a dozen times, and you're right here, and it's just as cool as you'd think it would be.
That's often the puzzle that is missing in the e-commerce world, right? Because you barely have the opportunity to talk to real people who are buying your product. That's amazing.
Our secret sauce, and definitely sets us apart. And I obviously don't want to give away too much of the secrets, but I think everybody, if they could have that opportunity to really focus on building a lifetime brand rather than just something that's flipping a product, or, nothing wrong with drop shipping or, doing quick hit products. But, if you're interested in building a really strong brand with a really core audience, try to, that would be my recommendation, is try to do that stuff, try to make it bridge the online with the offline. I don't know if it would work for everybody, but it's been amazing for us, and it's just I think it's been the core of what we've become.
Yeah, and with your products are kind of conversation starters itself, because I've met those people wearing like Roosevelt shirts on the streets, and it's always like sparks a conversation, like a cool little comment or something. I think on other podcasts you even mentioned that some guy met his like wife just because he was wearing the shirt, and she started the conversation. That's insane. This community basically like builds itself.
It's true. I like to think, we definitely do. John specifically is like definitely a brilliant person, but, we just kind of kicked the ball down the hill, and it just started rolling. But yeah, people have gotten engaged at this point more than I can even remember. People upload photos of them, at the hospital with their children being born, wearing our stuff. I really do think it's a lifestyle. People wear it to feel really good and confident about themselves and start conversations. And it's just cool that people take us on that journey and are willing to share it with the community that we've worked really hard to build. It's an amazing feeling.
It is an amazing thing that what you've done with your community. Let's talk a little bit about email. So like, with
I bet you know about a lot about this. Tell me something that I don't know.
I might be a bit biased, Steve, but with social media, website, email, where does email fit in like this big, beautiful picture, or Roosevelt?
Yeah, well, we have a very like specific formula for doing product launches and just doing communications with people, whether it's, a launch comes out, that email is the tip of the spear for that. And then, whether it's somebody placed an order and we want to give them, constant updates, email is integral to keeping that communication, keeping customers up to date. So, where, like I'm saying, Facebook and social advertising beyond Facebook and Instagram is kind of the front door that gets people in. Email is a really important part at keeping them involved and making those constant updates. And it's really become a big part of our launch strategies. People sit there waiting, refreshing their inbox or just looking at their inbox on launch dates, waiting for that email to come along so they know, okay, now it's time to go get this product. So, email is as strong as it's ever been and is one of the most important pieces to our marketing strategy.
And essentially you like own the challenge. You can talk to your customer directly, and that's the beauty of the email marketing.
Well,
And
yeah, and you know what? It's something to kind of tack onto that. I think email is kind of becoming like an insurance against Facebook in a lot of ways, and all these other marketing platforms where, you know, a quick algorithm changed. We knew so many people when we were in publishing, so many different publishers. We had pivoted at the point, you know, we were like, oh, wow, these Sandlot shirts are sweet. Let's just do them forever. And we don't have to get, you know, this is the pre-licensing phase. So we were riding high, but we were like, let's get out of publishing so much and diversify our revenue streams. And I'm so thankful that we did, because a lot of the publishers that we knew, in our previous lifetime, you know, a lot of them aren't around anymore because of a quick algorithm change by Facebook. And all it takes is a couple little changes to search and social and all these other things where, you know, you could be really crushing it as a brand. And then, you know, these changes happen and it could just put your business completely under if you have all those eggs in that basket. So we look at email as almost like the insurance policy where we own that data. You know, if everything collapses and nothing exists anymore, at least we have, you know, this very specific data that we can tie back to customers that can kind of keep everything going. And, you know, that it's just so important to us. And that's why it's just become such an integral part to our entire plans in terms of marketing.
Yeah, and it does work really great for you guys. So much of email marketing is actually about like testing what works, what doesn't work. And we've learned it over the years. So do you guys have any like almost unexpected surprises that you've experienced along the way with email marketing? For example, like things you thought would work but didn't, or like other way around?
Oh, okay. I have a couple. So I was actually just thinking about this the other day. Some things that were surprising would be the idea that like, let's get our email list. I think, okay, so let me start that over again. I think there's a trap that business owners fall into when it comes to email. And we fell into that trap. I think anybody that has ever owned a business would fall into this trap. And it's an easy one to fall into. It's let's acquire emails, as many as we can, and the bigger the email list, the more success that we're going to have. At its core, it kind of makes sense, but it's funny that, you know, since we've really gotten into, you know, more detailed marketing and really have hashed out our plan and kind of understand how it works, we found that, you know, yes, a giant email list, that's cool. It will drive revenue, but surprisingly enough, for us, our targeted email lists, really curated with, you know, curated audiences that, you know, maybe they like Bob Ross, but they don't like WWE. Those lists perform so much better than our main lists. So, you know, that's kind of the trap that I talk about is, you know, maybe business owners, and surprising to me, you know, maybe you shouldn't be focusing on getting the biggest list possible and just acquiring email lists like you're trolling, you know, net trolling in the ocean for a fish. Maybe you should try to look to have a more curated email list and build the community around that specific email list. So I think that was a very surprising thing that I learned in the last, you know, 3 to 6 months is focus on quality over quantity.
Yeah. And that's such a like rookie mistake that a lot of new business owners and people who are just starting with email marketing are doing. They're just like getting the list and starting to exhaust their list with like daily emails, relevant, irrelevant, whatever. They are like sending it. And then their sender's reputation gets hurt and the dollar per recipient is low. So that's really great that you guys are like that. I guess that we are segmenting the list, right? And
it's like the golden rule of email. It's like, if you were a subscriber to a brand, would you want to get all those emails? Probably not. So don't do it yourself.
Yep. So we are focusing always on sending the right kind of content to the right kind of customer. So thank you for bringing this up because we are talking about it on our podcast like continuously. So what about the things that you thought wouldn't work, but they actually worked better than you hoped? Was there anything like this? Like,
yeah, I think something that I've found that it's not that I didn't think it would work. I think everything that we do with learning in mind. You know, if I just took if I just took an approach, and this is so me because I will like run into a wall 100 times and thinking that I'll break through the wall on the 101st time. But something, it's weird. And I think a lot of people that are listening to this, if they own a business or they have that entrepreneurial mindset, I think they can kind of relate to that. But I think something that I really didn't think it would work, but I just wanted to try it and thought it was important and not totally scalable, was just talking to customers like directly via email, almost one-on-one. A couple of years ago, we had massive, like back-breaking issues with our fulfillment around the holidays. Thanksgiving was coming around, and our warehouse at the time just could not keep up with the volume. They weren't receiving products on time. They weren't shipping them on time. It was becoming very apparent that people that ordered things for Black Friday a month before Christmas weren't going to get their stuff for Christmas, which is just now it just sounds so crazy to even think about. But at the time,
it's like a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare,
yeah.
And it was backbreaking for our company. I thought we weren't going to last because we were burning bridges with nearly every customer that we had. So, something that I did, and I was like, this is never going to work, but I'm just going to go for it, was just starting to email customers one by one, and real like personal, not like copy and paste emails, like looking at their order history, looking where they're from, trying to figure out like, who is this person, and just going one by one for hours and hours and hours and days. It was like a week, 2 weeks of this, but emailing these people one by one just to tell them like, hey, I'm a co-owner of this company. We really are trying our best. We are not a big brand that you can't reach out to. We're not some company that's just trying to make a quick buck. There really is a story and people that are working for this company. And I was like, this is never going to work, but I'm just going to try to have these conversations with customers. And, after maybe the 20th conversation, 20th email, I really started to kind of build the momentum, and it was amazing, and it was inspiring, because I would send these emails saying, our warehouse is down, they're really far behind, we're working our best to get it, and kind of explaining the situation that we were in. These people were just so understanding, and it was an amazing moment for myself, and I think the company as a whole, because it really did show that this personalization and really putting yourselves in the customer's shoes, if you can have those honest conversations from a brand owner perspective, it really does help. And there really is some amazing potential there. And it's not really scalable. Like, you can't email all of your customers if you're at the level we are. But anytime that there's problems or something we have to explain, I keep going back to that strategy. And yeah, sure, most business analysts would be like, hey, that's not your time best spent. You should be doing this or that. But right. I love doing it because it allows us to have a real conversation with a real person that went out of their way to spend their hard-earned money with us. And I just think by doing that, it builds like an unbelievable bond with our customers. And to your point, I did not think that was going to work. And that was 2 years ago. And it's still something that I do today, like almost every week.
Such a beautiful story. Oh my goodness. And
are you crying over there?
Almost, Steven.
Nice
you got
story,
me here.
It's not that emotional.
No, it's a beautiful example. And yeah, I agree. You cannot scale this, but that's definitely the strategy that you can use. And you can do a lot of this with like automated flows as well. So you can be like targeting your customers like at the right point. To some, it's like more personal than just like the regular, maybe like a campaign that you're shooting to like your entire list. But I agree, when you're like emailing directly to your customer and like not using the copy and paste, but just like talking to them, that's huge. And
if you know those strategies, you guys have done an amazing job with educating me on email marketing. We were at MailChimp before, and just to be able to leave that and start working with you guys, not only has it's definitely cranked up our revenue, but that's, again, not everything. Not everything is. Of course, yes, we got to keep our lights on. Like, I guess you could say everything comes down to the bottom line, but I don't see it that way. You guys have done an amazing job of educating me, and through that education, it starts allowing me to think of bigger and better things that we might be able to try other places, or bring things that I've learned other places over to email. And, it's just been an amazing experience to work with you guys and have that kind of like firsthand education and really kind of grow our business through email. So I'm excited to hear that you say maybe we could do more personalization, and that's definitely something I'd love to talk about after the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear that. And we love working with you guys. You're so like innovative, and it's just like a lot of fun to be working with you. So thank you so much. And thank you for coming to the podcast. I know there's like a lot of happening right now, and we really appreciate that you could find the time to talk to us today. So I do have just like one last question, and this is like
I got all day. You can keep going. Like I'm not in a rush. So if you want to talk for 5 more hours, I'm in, and we could talk about other things as well. So let's go.
Sure, let's just do it. Okay, yeah, but seriously though, we do have this like one classic question that we are asking all of our guests, and I'd really like to hear what you say about it. So, Steve, what advice would you give your younger self about like starting the business, about going on this journey? What is the one thing you wish you knew before starting Roosevelt's?
That's a great question. I would think I would tell myself if I was back at junior year of college at Seton Hall University, where, 4 of my best friends and I were trying to make this newsletter. Our school newspaper, Seton Hall, nothing against them, but at the time the newspaper stunk. It was just terrible. And we were like, let's make our own. Let's do this thing. And we decided to make our own newsletter, and it ended up becoming like so big overnight. It was amazing. It like took over the campus. Maybe we should have launched a blog, but we were like, let's get into print. Let's do this thing right at the tail end of print. But I think I would have told myself at the time when we were doing that like, you're not crazy. Like, if you want to build something, I'm going around like knocking on doors, like trying to get advertising and learning how to do printing. And that's just kind of the way my mind has always worked, is like, figure it out, try to put all the pieces together to make this bigger thing work together. And I think maybe at the time I was like, dude, you're crazy. Like, this is just so weird. Most people don't think like that. But I think I would go back and be like, hey, you're actually on the right track. You think a little bit differently, but that's a good thing.
That's a beautiful and inspirational end of the podcast, I think. So thank you for that. Thank you for talking to us today. And I'm sure a lot of people were like happy to learn more about Roosevelt's, and we hope to have you again someday when Roosevelt's become like a global, huge global brand.
We're looking into doing global distribution. Like, it's so crazy because we went from not having a single license and almost getting sued by Fox to now we're trying to figure out terms to do like distribution in the UK and Europe, Asia, Australia. So like I said before, I really do think that we're just getting started. We've made a lot of progress through hard work and, having amazing people at the company. But I really do think with the community that we have and the things that we're working on, we really are just getting started. And the next years and decades for Roosevelt's are going to be really exciting.
Cool. Well,
and
thank you so much.
Can I say one more thing too?
If go ahead.
If there are other people at brands or people that kind of listen to this and thought it was interesting, or there's any other things that people want to talk about, definitely hit me up. Like, I'm available on DM, Twitter. You can email me. My email is pretty much all over the place at this point, but I'd love to just talk to people. I think this is a fascinating conversation. And I know that there's more people out there that kind of think the way that I do or market the way that I do. So I'd love to talk to those people.
Cool. Thank you so much, Steven.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Steve.
There you have it, guys. We hope you enjoyed listening to Steve as much as we did talking to him. He's a super interesting guy. And if you want to know more about his brand, please make sure that you visit roosevelts.com. That's RSVLTS.com. His brand is amazing and they're just incredible to support. So make sure that you check them out. Just don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. We would appreciate it so much. And if you have more technical questions or want to get involved in a community for other email marketing needs, make sure that you join our Facebook group. It's called Klaviyo Community. It's super interactive. We have people from all over the world asking different questions that are either technical or practical or theoretical around email marketing. It's just a great space to be in and get some more ideas and inspiration for what to do for your email marketing. If you are interested in getting some more advice on how to establish a solid email marketing strategy for your e-commerce store, we do offer free consultations. So make sure you visit flowium.com/contact and sign up for that free consultation. Again, it's totally free. You get to hop on the phone with one of us and we just get to talk to you about what you're currently doing and what you could potentially do a little better so that you can boost and maximize your email marketing. So now that Steve has fired you up to get excited not only about your brand and your e-commerce business, but to also get going with your email marketing, we want to give you more. Next week, week, we'll be talking about one of our favorite automations, the flow we truly believe to add serious dollars into your pocket. So if you want to know more, make sure you listen to our next podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening to Email Einstein. Can you feel that? Your marketing brain just got a little bit bigger. We ask that you please use it wisely. You've got all the theory you need to get out there and start boosting your sales, because great emails equals revenue squared.